My beloved child, pause for a few moments. Put aside everything that has been weighing on you and stay here with me. Leave behind the endless list of responsibilities, the thoughts that keep spinning in your mind, and the worries that seem to follow you wherever you go. Just for now, let them rest. I have not come to fill your day with more noise. I have come to speak to the quiet place inside you that has been waiting for my voice for a very long time. I know exactly where you are today. I know the burden you carry before your feet even touch the floor each morning. I know the questions you have never shared with another person. I know the fear hidden behind your calm words and peaceful expression. Nothing about your heart has ever been hidden from me. You are not hearing these words by chance. I am not speaking to everyone in this moment. I am speaking directly to you right where you are, because there is something your spirit has needed to hear. Do not hurry through what I am saying. Do not let your thoughts run ahead to everything waiting for you after this. Stay here until these words settle into the deepest part of your heart, where your choices are truly made. Something has been moving inside you, and you know it even if you cannot explain it. You notice it in the quiet before the morning begins, and you feel it again at night after everything becomes still, and there is nowhere left for your heart to hide. It feels like something unfinished, a pressure that refuses to leave, a restlessness you cannot ignore. You have tried to escape it by keeping yourself occupied. You have covered it with work, conversations, and the small distractions that fill an ordinary day. Yet it keeps coming back, doesn't it? That is not your imagination troubling you. It is my voice refusing to let you settle for less than what I have prepared for you. I will not quietly allow you to miss what waits beyond the step you continue to avoid. My precious child, listen carefully. There have been seasons when waiting was exactly what I asked of you. There were times I led you into quiet places where very few people could see what I was doing. Those hidden seasons were where I did some of my deepest work. I strengthened your roots so that when strong winds came, you would remain standing. I shaped your heart where no one else was watching, and refined what truly mattered. Those years were never wasted. They belonged to me, and they were holy. But the season you are in today is different. This is no longer a season for waiting. This is a season for moving forward. I have already finished much of the shaping. I have already built what needed to be built inside you. Now I am asking you to use what I have placed there. The restlessness within you is not confusion. It is my calling. The discomfort that refuses to leave is not a warning. It is the evidence that you have grown beyond the place where you have been standing. You were never meant to stay there forever. You were created to move, and now is the time. Think about a seed lying beneath the soil. For a long season, nothing appears to be happening. The ground seems untouched, as though life is absent. Yet beneath the surface, roots continue reaching deeper. Life keeps growing quietly, unseen and without hurry. Then the moment comes when the seed can no longer remain buried. It breaks apart and begins reaching toward the light. That breaking cost the seed everything it once was. It is never easy, and it was never designed to be, but it is necessary because no seed was created to remain hidden beneath the earth forever. It was made to rise, to live, and to produce fruit that blesses everything around it. My child, that seed is you. I have been growing deep roots inside you, far deeper than you realize. In the hidden places I have been preparing something lasting within your life. Now I am calling you to rise. Not because it will be easy, but because it is exactly what you were created to do. You were never meant to remain buried beneath your own hesitation. You were made to grow, to break open, and to produce fruit that brings blessing wherever your life reaches. You already know what I have been asking of you. I did not write it across the sky. I placed it gently within your thoughts, inside the weight upon your heart, inside the idea that returns whenever everything else grows quiet. Perhaps it is a decision you have been avoiding for many months. Perhaps it is a conversation that requires your honesty. Perhaps it is a dream you buried, because someone convinced you it was too great for someone like you. Whatever it is, I placed it there intentionally. I do nothing by accident. So stop turning away from it. Look at it honestly. Bring it before me and tell me the real reason you have been avoiding it. I am not asking you to fear what I am about to say. I am asking you to be willing to receive it, because what I have prepared for you is not another burden. It is the very thing your heart has been longing to carry. Listen carefully. The season of waiting has ended. I am not asking you to understand every detail before you move. I am asking you to trust me enough to take the next step, even when you cannot yet see the whole path. That has always been the picture of faith. Not complete certainty. Trust. And I will remain with you through every step, from the smallest act of courage until the journey is complete. Say, I hear you. If these words are reaching your heart today, then let us speak honestly about what has been holding you back. It is not always wisdom. It is not always careful thinking. Sometimes, if you are honest, it is fear. Fear is very clever. It almost never introduces itself by saying, I am afraid. Instead, it disguises itself. It calls itself patience. It calls itself wisdom. It whispers, you are only waiting for more clarity. When in reality fear has quietly taken the place where your decisions are made, wearing a disguise so convincing that you stopped recognizing it long ago. I am not disappointed in you because you have been afraid. I know your story. I remember every moment you chose courage and paid a price for it. I remember the times you trusted others and were deeply disappointed. The moments you stepped forward only to find the ground less steady than you expected. I was beside you through every one of those moments. I watched as you slowly built walls around your heart, one brick at a time, until moving forward began to feel dangerous. But hear me now, my beloved. I did not bring you all this way so that fear could finish writing your story. The walls you built to protect yourself have also kept out many of the blessings I have wanted to place in your life. I do not want you to stay inside that fortress forever. I want to lead you beyond it. I want to heal the places that still ache and restore what was broken. But that healing rarely happens while you remain hidden. Many times courage comes after the first step instead of before it. Often confidence is built while you are moving, not while you wait until you finally feel ready. Some of the things you continue avoiding are not even very large. They only seem overwhelming because you have carried them alone for so long. A decision still waiting to be made. A truth that remains unspoken. A boundary you keep promising yourself you will set tomorrow. None of these things require a miracle before they can begin. They simply require your yes. I am not asking you to create a flawless plan. I am asking you to take one sincere step today in the direction I have already placed before you. There is something else I need to speak to you about. It is the comparison you have been carrying. You have watched other people move ahead, begin new things, and speak the brave words you have been afraid to say. Instead of encouraging you, it has made you feel smaller. You have convinced yourself they possess something you do not. More confidence, greater ability, or some special measure of grace that never reached you. But listen carefully. Most of the people you compare yourself with are not moving because they have been given more than you. They are moving because they chose to stop waiting until they finally felt ready. That is the difference. Not greater gifts, not greater anointing, simply a decision. And you are fully able to make that same decision today. What I have placed inside you belongs to you alone. It has been shaped through your story, your voice, your pain, and the unique way you see the world. No one else can carry what I created within you. And no one else can fulfill it the way you were created to. When you remain on the sidelines believing someone else is better prepared, you are not walking in humility. You are believing a lie that keeps your life much smaller than I ever intended. So stop measuring your journey against someone else's. Turn your attention back to what I have already placed in your own hands. That is where your focus belongs. Let me tell you about a river. When a river keeps flowing, it is full of life. Fish swim through it. Birds come to drink from it. Everything around it is blessed by its movement. But when something blocks a river, the water stays in one place. Slowly it becomes still, then cloudy, then without life. What once brought life to everything around it becomes something people avoid. You were created to flow like that river, not to remain still until your spirit becomes stagnant. I placed life inside you so it could move outward, reach other people, and carry hope into places waiting for exactly what you have to give. When fear or delay blocks what I intended to flow through you, something inside you begins to feel like that standing water, heavy, dull, and far from the fullness you once knew. That heaviness is not difficult to explain. It is simply the sign that you were created to keep moving, but you have remained still. So today I am asking you to remove what has been blocking you. Open the places where you have been holding back. Let what I have placed inside you begin moving again. Let it go where it was always meant to go and do what it was always meant to do. The moment you do, you will begin to feel alive again. You will recognize the feeling of truly being yourself, walking closely with the one who created you. Listen to this as well. The flow does not wait until every circumstance becomes perfect. A river does not stop until every stone has been removed from its path. It keeps moving, and as it moves it finds its way around every obstacle. It keeps flowing, and the movement itself shapes the ground beneath it. That is how I work in your life. I am not waiting until everything becomes easy before I use you. I am asking you to begin moving so together we can shape the path as you walk. Think about the times in your life when you truly felt alive. Were they the moments that felt safest and guaranteed? Or were they the moments that required you to trust me the most? When people answer honestly, they usually discover their greatest moments of life were never the safest ones. They were the moments when they walked toward the unknown, because I was calling them. I do not meet you only where everything feels secure. I meet you as you step onto the water. Not where every answer is already known, but where you choose to trust the one who already knows. Today I am inviting you back to that place. Back to where your whole heart is engaged because your trust is fully in me. Back to where each ordinary morning carries purpose, because you are walking with me toward something that truly matters. Declare, I receive this if your heart is open to what I am building inside you. Now let us speak about who you really are, because beneath every delay, every hesitation, and every fear of failure, another question has been quietly living inside you. Am I really someone you can use for something this important? Am I truly able, worthy, and prepared for what I believe you are asking me to do? And if I step forward and everything falls apart, what will that say about me? That question about your value has been one of the greatest weapons used against your obedience. When your heart is not settled in what I say about you, every risk feels like a test of your worth. Every step forward feels like an examination you might fail, one that seems ready to prove something painful about who you are. So you protect yourself. You stay where everything feels safe because remaining still seems to guarantee that no one can declare you unworthy of the calling. It appears wise, but it is actually a prison built from deception. My child, I am asking you to place a portion of what you have, something of real weight, upon the altar of this work as gold laid on the scales of this calling. Let it be a seed sown into deep water, an offering set on stone, not held back in fear. This is proof that your trust rests in my hand to provide, and that your heart no longer clings to lack. What you release in faith does not leave your life. It moves ahead of you into the harvest I am preparing. Receive this truth now, and let it become part of the very foundation of your heart. Your worth has never depended on your performance. Your value has never been measured by your success. Your identity was established before you ever took your first step, before you were born, spoken into existence by the one who created you and called you his own. You are loved because you belong to me, not because of what you accomplish. That truth never changes. It is secure forever. It stands stronger than anything this world could ever give you or ever take away. So when fear whispers that failing today would prove you were never called, never gifted, never the person you believed yourself to be, you already have your answer. Your worth is not being tested by this step. Your identity is never at risk when you choose obedience. You are not moving forward to prove yourself to anyone. You are moving forward because you trust the one who already knows exactly who you are. When that truth becomes rooted inside you, not only in your thoughts but deep within your spirit, everything begins to change. The risk no longer feels so overwhelming. Failure is no longer the worst thing that could happen, because failure no longer defines your life. Rejection may still bring pain, but it no longer destroys you because your worth was never placed in the hands of those who reject you. And obedience becomes lighter, simpler, and more natural, because you are no longer trying to carry the impossible burden of proving your value through your results. You are simply choosing to say yes to me, because you are secure in who I say you are. Let that truth settle inside you. Let it reach the deepest part of your heart. You are my child. You are deeply loved. You are called. You are prepared. Not because you earned any of it, but because I chose you. And whatever I choose, I also equip. Whatever I equip, I also protect. And whatever I protect, I faithfully bring to completion. You are not walking this road by yourself. You never were, and you never will be. My beloved, there is something practical I want to teach you about the way I guide your life. Many people remain stuck for years because they misunderstand how much direction I give before asking them to move. You often believe that if I were truly calling you, I would make everything so obvious that there would be no room for uncertainty. You expect a complete answer, a finished map, before you believe it is safe to take the first step, but that is seldom how I lead those I love. Think about Abraham. I asked him to leave his land, his people, and his father's house, and go to a place I would show him. I did not place the whole destination before his eyes. I promised to reveal it as he walked. He was not handed every detail before the journey began. He received my instruction and my promise, and only then did he begin moving while the rest unfolded. He walked without knowing the full destination. That is faith. That is the kind of trust I still honor today. And it is the same trust I am asking from you. I rarely place the entire map in your hands because if I did, you might try to complete the journey without depending on me every step of the way. The partial understanding you have been hoping would become complete is not me holding something back from you. It is my invitation for you to remain close. It is how I keep your hand in mine, teaching you to depend on my voice for every next step. Walking together is just as important as arriving, perhaps even more. So stop waiting until every detail becomes clear before you move. Take the next step using the understanding you already have, because the step after it will only become visible when you reach the place where the first one leads. I uncover the road while you walk it, and the only way to see what comes next is to continue following me. This is also why the uncertainty you keep hoping will disappear may still remain before you begin moving. That uncertainty is not a warning. It is simply what faith feels like. It is the experience of trusting someone with knowledge you do not yet possess. You can trust me completely with that knowledge. I have never made a mistake. I have never arrived too late. I have never called someone to walk with sincere trust, and then left them alone halfway through the journey. My faithfulness has never failed, and you can rest your trust upon it even while your emotions are still catching up. My child, now let us speak about time, because what looked like delay in your life was never rejection. I was still working, even when you could not see it. You believed the door remained closed because I had forgotten about you. I never did. I was preparing what waited beyond that door, things you were not yet ready to carry. People who still needed preparation. Moments that had not yet come together. pieces that needed to find their proper place before you stepped through. Every season that looked wasted to you was still a season where I was at work. Think about a field left untouched for a while. To someone passing by, it appears forgotten. Nothing seems to be growing. Nothing appears to be happening. Yet the land is simply resting, and rest is not abandonment. The soil is gathering strength again, so the next harvest will grow deep, instead of fading with shallow roots. There were areas of your life that I intentionally allowed to rest. Not because I no longer cared about the harvest, but because I was protecting the ground that harvest would need. Even now I am laying a foundation beneath the surface where you cannot yet see it. You know how a building is made. The work that takes the greatest care and the longest time is usually hidden below the ground, where no one notices it after the building stands. Yet without that hidden work, nothing above could remain standing. That is exactly what I have been doing inside you. Patient, quiet, unseen work placed deep enough that what I build upon it will remain firm when the storms arrive looking for a way to shake it. So allow peace to settle where panic has been living. You do not need to understand every part of the timeline to trust the one who holds it. You do not need to see the whole structure before trusting the foundation I am building. Peace is not having every answer. Peace is trusting the steady hand that holds your life, even while questions remain. I am that steady hand. I have never dropped what I was carrying for you, and I will not begin now. Now let us speak about the people around you, because sometimes your delay is not only happening inside your own heart. Sometimes it comes from the relationships around you. Perhaps you shared what I was stirring within you, and someone answered with doubt, or gave you a long list of practical reasons why it would never succeed. Their words joined your own fears until staying where you were seemed like the safest and wisest choice. Or perhaps there are people whose disappointment you fear. A parent, a husband or wife, or a close friend whose opinion has quietly become the strongest voice shaping your decisions. Without realizing it, you have been living inside a fence built from the fear of losing their approval. And you have mistaken that fence for wisdom. I see every part of that, and I do not dismiss it. The people you love matter to me as well. I created you for relationships, for community, and for meaningful connection. None of that is weakness, but I also created you with a calling that no one else can fully recognize from the outside. There will be times when what I ask you to do will not make sense to those closest to you. There will be moments when obeying me means disappointing someone you deeply love. When those moments come, you must gently, but clearly decide whose voice you will ultimately follow. I am not asking you to become harsh or careless toward the people in your life. I am asking you to stop giving their opinions the place that belongs only to me. Those who truly love you and genuinely desire what is best for you will understand in time, even if they cannot see it today. And even if some never fully understand, one day you will stand before me. I will not ask whether every decision pleased the people around you. I will ask whether you trusted me enough to obey. So, let go of the control other people's opinions have held over your choices. Do it without bitterness. Do it without pride. Let it go with the quiet confidence of someone who finally knows whose voice matters most. Let your concern about disappointing others fall into its proper place, far behind the simple joy of pleasing me. Then move ahead in that freedom. Some of those closest to you will one day become your strongest supporters when they finally see the fruit that grows from your obedience. They could not recognize what I was doing while it was still hidden. That is not their fault, and it is not yours. It is simply how unseen work unfolds. The harvest speaks in ways that explanations never can. I care far more about producing real fruit in your life than proving your point before that harvest appears. But I also want to tell you the truth. Some people will never change their minds, no matter how much fruit your life produces. Some relationships only work when you remain exactly where you have always been, familiar, small, and easy for others to control. When you grow, when you change, when you finally answer what I have been calling you toward, some people will quietly feel threatened by that growth, even if they never admit it. Do not let that stop you. It is simply part of becoming the person I created you to be. I will remain with you through every part of that cost, healing what is left behind and filling your life with what grows in its place. I also want you to notice something about the people you faithfully pray for. Your obedience does not only change your own path, it also influences theirs. When you choose freedom instead of fear, when you keep moving instead of standing still, you quietly give those you love permission to do the same. Without saying many words, your life becomes evidence that surrendering to me does not make life smaller. It makes it fuller. The only thing it asks of you is your willingness to keep walking forward. Now listen carefully to what I want to tell you about your past. I waste nothing. Not the difficult seasons. Not the painful chapters. Not the mistakes you carried for years like heavy stones. Not even the years that seemed to go nowhere. None of it was wasted. None of it was beyond my power to redeem. Nothing that happened was outside my ability to turn into something that serves both your story and the purpose I prepared for your life. Even the years you believe fear and delay stole from you are not beyond my redemption. I can take every moment from those years, every hesitation, every circle you walked, every opportunity that almost happened, and weave it into something that gives greater depth to your calling instead of leaving an empty space in your story. The pain you endured is not keeping you from what I have prepared. Quietly, it has been preparing you in ways you cannot yet fully recognize. The people who will most need what you carry are often those who need someone who truly understands. Someone who has lived through real hardship. Someone who has not only heard about the valley but has walked through it. Your past is not working against you. It has become part of what equips you. The very seasons you want to hide, the chapters you feel ashamed of, the failures you wish had never happened, may become the very reason someone else can receive hope through your story. People carrying brokenness are not searching for a flawless messenger. They are searching for someone real. They need someone who has struggled, questioned, returned, fallen, risen again, been afraid, and still chose to move forward. That is the kind of testimony that truly changes lives. And that is the story I have been writing in you through every step of your journey. Now I want to speak about restoration because it is not the same as beginning again. Beginning again leaves the past behind and starts from nothing. Restoration is something different. Restoration takes what was broken, makes it whole again, scars included, and then uses those scars as living proof of what I can do through someone who continued trusting me. I do not erase your wounds as though they never existed. I redeem them. I make them part of your testimony instead of something you feel you must hide before I can use you. Think about a broken bone after it heals. The place where it mended often becomes stronger than before, not weaker. That is how I work within your heart. The places that once broke and later healed through my care are no longer your weakest places. They have become some of your strongest, because they carry both the memory of the hurt and the evidence of healing. Those who remain standing after being knocked down carry an authority that those who have never faced such testing cannot possess. That authority is part of what I now want to work through your life. So stop seeing your past as something you must erase before I can use you. Begin seeing it as one of the ways I have already been shaping you into exactly what the people I am sending you need. Your past belongs to your purpose. Your pain belongs to your preparation. Every chapter I have written into your life, even the ones you wish had been different, is part of what I want you to carry forward. I also want to speak about the atmosphere surrounding your life right now, because something happens in the unseen whenever delay keeps replacing obedience. It is not punishment. It is simply what happens when your life is out of alignment. When you keep saying, "Not yet," to what I have already asked you to embrace, everything around your life begins to feel heavy, clouded, and difficult, as though every step requires more effort than it should. Doors that should open remain closed. Conversations that should come naturally become strained. Plans that should move ahead keep running into resistance without any clear explanation. Sometimes you have called that feeling spiritual opposition. At times it is. But other times it is simply the accumulated weight of delayed obedience. It is the lingering effect of the things I asked you to do that still remain undone. Just as delay creates that heaviness, obedience removes it. The moment you finally answer yes to what I have been asking, the moment you take the step you have avoided, the moment your actions begin to match my direction, something changes. It may not be dramatic. It may not be immediately visible. But there is a clearing. There is a lightness. There is a sense that what once felt stuck is beginning to move again. You have experienced that before. You already know the difference between the peace that follows true obedience and the numbness that comes from avoiding what I asked. You know the difference between a heart that is resting in me and one that simply stopped listening because listening became too painful. Today I am calling you back into alignment. Not through striving. Not through trying harder or depending on your own effort. Simply through one clear, wholehearted yes. That place of alignment is where the atmosphere you have been longing for begins. There the heaviness lifts. There peace returns. And there your forward movement starts once again. You do not have to create that sense of lightness on your own. It comes by itself when your heart comes into agreement with mine. Just as light fills a room the moment a door is opened. Declare, I trust you, if you believe this message is for your life today. My child, I want to speak with you about time in a way you may not have thought about before. You understand in your mind that life is brief. You have heard those words many times and agreed with them. But I wonder if that truth has truly settled deep enough in your heart to shape the way you choose on an ordinary day. There is a great difference between knowing something with your mind and living from it with your heart. Time is valuable, not as an old saying people repeat, but in a real, practical, and urgent way. Every day that passes is gone for good. Every season carries opportunities that belong to that season alone. The person you could reach today may not have the same open heart tomorrow. The door standing slightly open today may no longer be open when you finally decide you are ready. The season of influence you have now will not remain exactly as it is forever. I do not tell you this to fill you with fear. I tell you so a holy urgency will rise inside you, pulling you away from comfortable delay and leading you toward purposeful living. I want you to begin looking at each day differently, holding it with thankful attention that says, this day matters. What I choose today has meaning, and I want to live it with purpose. That does not mean living under pressure or anxiety all the time. It means faithfully caring for the hours I place in your hands. It means paying attention to what I ask of you today, instead of always waiting for a future that will never arrive exactly as you imagined. One of the greatest freedoms you can experience is choosing to fully live in today, not in the future version of yourself where every fear has disappeared and every question has already been answered. Live now with the faith you already have, with the gifts already placed within you, with the courage available in this very moment, if you choose to reach for it, living the life that is before you instead of waiting for another one to begin. There is something more I want you to understand about obedience. It was never meant to affect only you. When I place a calling on someone's life, it is never only for that person's benefit. It is also for every life that calling is meant to reach. There are people alive today, some already known to you, and others you have not yet met, waiting for what I placed inside you. There are people standing today where you once stood before I brought you through it. There are people sitting in darkness you have already left behind. There are people asking questions your own story already answers. There are people who feel completely alone in something you understand, because you have lived through it yourself. Every day you postpone obedience is another day those people continue waiting without what they need. Another day they remain trapped in something you could help them overcome. Another day they carry alone what you could help them bear. Does that change the way you see your hesitation? Sometimes the strongest reason to obey has very little to do with yourself. Sometimes you must stop thinking only about your own fear and begin thinking about those waiting beyond your yes. Your calling is connected to someone else's breakthrough. When you move forward, you make a path that others can follow. Your obedience is never only about you. Its effect reaches farther than you will ever fully see or measure, touching people you pray for and many others you may never meet. That is why I continue bringing this before you. I already see what your yes will accomplish in the world, and it is too valuable to remain untouched. Think about the changing of seasons. Winter never argues with spring. It simply steps aside when its time has ended. A turning point has been prepared for your life. You are moving from the season you have known into the one I have already prepared. You do not have to force that change through striving. You only need to stop resisting it. Allow what has finished its work to end, and allow what I am bringing to begin growing in its place. You do not create the turning. You simply step into it, just as you walk from one room into another by moving forward. Now think about crossing a desert, because many of you feel as though you have wandered for a very long time without reaching your destination. When you are inside the desert, it seems endless. The same ground stretches before you day after day, until you wonder whether you are making any progress at all. But I never send you into a desert to leave you there. I walk with you through it on the way to somewhere else. It is a place where you learn to depend on fresh bread each morning instead of relying only on what you stored for yourself. It is a place where trusting my provision prepares you for everything waiting beyond the sand. If you are walking through a desert season today, hear me clearly. There is another side to the journey. You will not wander forever. Every step you take, even the ones that seem ordinary and repetitive, is bringing you nearer to its end. Even when today's horizon looks exactly like yesterday's, I have never lost sight of you in the desert. I walk every mile beside you, and I know exactly where the wilderness comes to an end. So hold tightly to today. Do not allow it to pass unnoticed while waiting for a day that feels easier or more convenient. The harvest you are waiting for is not hidden in some distant future where life feels simpler. It is hidden inside the ordinary obedience available to you today, in the life already before you. My child, now let us speak about endurance, because beginning something is one thing, but continuing is another. Many of you have started before. You took a brave first step, and then something happened that was more difficult than you expected. There was disappointment, a setback, a moment when things did not unfold the way you hoped. That became the place where you stepped back, and what should have been a short pause slowly became a lasting retreat. What was only meant to be a moment of gathering yourself became a complete withdrawal. Now you find yourself here again. You feel my invitation rising once more. You recognize that familiar stirring inside you. One part of you wants to answer, but another part remembers what happened before, and those memories make saying yes feel much harder than it truly is. Today I want to speak directly to that place inside you. I honor the fact that you tried before, and I honor the courage it required. I was with you when things became difficult. I saw you stumble, and I am not asking you to act as though it never hurt. But that setback was never the end of your story. That stumble never disqualified you. It was simply one part of the path. It taught you what you needed to learn, and removed the things that would have held you back later. But this season is not the same. Not because everything ahead will suddenly become easy, but because you are no longer the same person. You carry far more within you than you did the last time. Everything you lived through has shaped you. And that shaping is exactly what this new season requires. So do not let the memory of an earlier fall convince you never to try again. Rise again. Move forward once more. Allow the story of what you survived to become the testimony that gives strength to the chapter ahead. Now listen carefully to something simple, something small that has quietly stolen more dreams than almost anything else. The word tomorrow. It sounds harmless. It feels like a gentle friend that offers relief without asking anything in return. It lets your heart agree with me while your feet never move. That is why it is so dangerous. Each time you tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, you quietly agree with delay. Once that agreement is made, it becomes easier to repeat it until tomorrow becomes your answer every time courage is required. Then one day you look back and realize months, even years, have gone by while the thing I placed before you remains exactly where it was, untouched and still waiting. I do not want your story to be filled with almosts, almost ready, almost brave, almost willing to trust. The word almost is one of the saddest words in a life of faith, because it means you stood close to something real and allowed it to pass by. Let that pattern end today, not because every fear has disappeared, but because I am calling you now, and my grace is available today, not only tomorrow. Real faith rarely looks the way you imagined it would. It is not always the confident smile or the complete certainty that everything will unfold perfectly. Real faith often feels like stepping into darkness, trusting the ground will be there before you can see it. It feels like speaking while your voice still shakes, moving while your hands still tremble, beginning while your mind still holds unanswered questions. Faith is not measured by how confident you feel. Faith is measured by the one you choose to trust. If your yes is directed toward me, it matters, even if your knees are weak and your heart beats faster than ever. I do not always come the way you expect. I did not reveal myself to one of my prophets through the earthquake or the fire. I came in the quiet whisper after all the noise had passed. I did not call my first followers from royal halls or sacred courts. I found them beside the water repairing their nets during an ordinary day, and I simply said, "Follow me." They left what was in their hands and walked with me. My calling rarely arrives with thunder. Most often it comes as a quiet pull, a thought that returns again and again, a simple next step that feels almost too ordinary to be from heaven. Do not ignore it because it seems small. Some of the greatest works I have done began with someone saying yes to one small instruction. So this is what I want you to do before anything else. When these words are finished, take a few quiet moments. Sit before me in stillness. Ask me one sincere question. What is the single step you have been asking me to take that I have continued avoiding? Not many steps, not a long list, just one. The one that has waited the longest. Then be still and listen. When I reveal it to you, make it practical. Choose a place for it in your day and do it today if possible. If not today, then this week. Let today become the day something truly changed. The life I have prepared for you is not waiting somewhere far away in a future that feels more convenient. It is already available, just beyond the obedience you have been delaying. It is richer and more complete than the life you have been living while standing in the shadow of hesitation. For a long time I have been calling you toward it, and today I ask you once again, will you answer yes? Not almost yes. Not yes later. A true yes, the kind that moves your feet and lifts your hands toward what I have already shown you. Rise, my beloved. The season of standing still has ended. The season of moving forward has begun. I am with you. My strength is enough. My love is not measured by your performance, and everything needed for your next step has already been placed inside you by the one who created you for this very moment. Take that step. Keep moving forward. Discover, just as many before you have discovered, that the God who calls you is also the God who carries you through every single step, from this moment until the very end. Declare Amen. Now, if you are ready to rise and walk forward with me, I want to speak about something you have never said aloud, the version of yourself you present to the world, capable, collected, and moving through each day with enough confidence that no one notices what is beneath the surface. That version is wearing you out. You have worn it for so long that you almost believe it is who you truly are. I am not asking you to remove it before everyone else. I am only asking you to stop wearing it when you come before me. You do not need to come into my presence with everything put together. Bring the unfinished version of yourself. Bring the version that still does not know every answer. That is exactly the one I am inviting to move forward. Because this season does not need polished people. It needs someone willing to be seen as they truly are, and willing to trust me enough to keep moving. That invitation is before you right now. We run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.